Freud feared many things, but one question haunted him to the grave. What does a woman want? Not what she posts, not what she thinks she wants, what she actually wants, beneath the performance, beneath the silence. He could explain almost anything, and maybe that's the point. Maybe you've asked yourself the same question after she pulled away for no reason, after she said, "I'm fine," and meant the opposite, after she left when you gave her everything, and you're still trying to solve her like a puzzle, thinking if you just understand her, you'll finally feel safe. But what if that's the trap? What if trying to understand her is actually your way of trying to control her? Because deep down, maybe it's not about love. Maybe it's about power, about certainty, about needing to feel like she won't surprise you again. That's what Freud feared. He couldn't define her. Maybe the real question isn't what she wants. It's why you keep needing to know. Freud had one job: figure out what's really going on inside people's heads. He was the first to say, "You're not driven by what you say, you're driven by what you hide." That's the unconscious, the part of your mind that makes decisions before you even know why. The part that says, "I'm fine," when you're breaking inside. Freud could trace it all: repression, trauma, family dynamics. With men, it followed a pattern: control issues, father rivalry, mother attachment, predictable stuff. But with women, something broke. He'd sit across from female patients. They'd faint without warning, forget their names, cry uncontrollably, then regain composure like nothing happened. And it shook him. Because this wasn't just emotion, it was precision. They weren't faking it. They didn't even know they were doing it. But the results? Men bent around them, felt guilty, protective, addicted, confused. And here's the part Freud couldn't say out loud. It worked. Their unconscious wasn't chaotic. It was strategic, not in a villainous, "she's planning this" kind of way. In a deeper, biological, instinctive way. Women don't need to fight for power the way men do. They draw it in, through silence, emotion, absence, tears, confusion. And most guys fall for it, not because they're weak, but because they're wired to respond. She doesn't manipulate you, her unconscious does. And that's what Freud couldn't handle. Because when a woman's behavior affects you deeply, but she can say, "I didn't do anything," and technically she's right, you're powerless. That's not manipulation. That's gravity. And if you've ever felt that, if you've ever been left spinning while she walks away calm, you've seen it up close. You just didn't know what it was. Until now. You think she likes you, but something feels off. It's intense, fast, deep, like she already knows you. But here's the thing, she's not seeing you. She's seeing what her mind needs you to be. That's projection, and we all do it. You feel insecure, so you think she's judging you. You're angry, but you say she's acting hostile. You hate your own neediness, so you call her clingy. Freud realized the more unresolved emotion someone carries, the more likely they are to see those emotions in someone else. And with women, this projection often comes wrapped in emotion. It doesn't look like control. It feels like connection. That's why it works. You feel chosen, seen, needed. But what if the spark isn't attraction? What if it's unresolved pain, dressing itself up as intimacy? Most guys assume manipulation is always conscious, like she knows what she's doing. She plans it, controls it, calculates every move, but that's not always how it works. In reality, the most powerful emotional influence isn't calculated, it's automatic. Especially in women, emotional projection often happens underneath awareness. It's not that she wants to mess with you. She's not pretending. She's reacting to a version of you her unconscious created. Let me explain. If she's been abandoned, she'll see signs you're pulling away, even when you're not. If she's been emotionally neglected, she'll read silence as rejection. If she had to earn love growing up, she'll twist herself to be what you want, then resent you for it. And she won't realize any of it, because to her, it feels real. She thinks she's falling in love. She thinks you're special. She thinks this is fate. But what's actually happening is this. Her nervous system has recognized something familiar. Not necessarily healthy, just familiar. And it's attaching. She's not choosing you. She's responding to a pattern inside her. You're not just a man in front of her. You're her father's silence, her ex's betrayal, the fantasy that made the pain feel romantic. And you don't know it yet, but you've already been cast. The moment you said the right thing, the moment you made her feel that old feeling, she handed you a script. Freud quotes, "A woman should soften a man, not weaken him." Here's the part that messes with your head. It doesn't feel fake. In fact, it feels more real than anything you felt before. She opens up. She gets vulnerable. She says things like, "I've never felt this safe with anyone." Her voice softens. She leans in. She mirrors your energy. It feels like she's falling for you. But step back. Does she actually know you? Or did something inside her, something buried, recognize something familiar? Freud once said, "A man who has been the indisputable favorite of his mother keeps for life the feeling of a conqueror." Flip it. A woman who felt unseen by her father will keep chasing someone who gives her that old ache. And when you show up at the right moment, you become the symbol. Not because you're trying to be, but because you hit an emotional nerve she's been carrying for years. That's not attraction, that's activation. You didn't seduce her. You awakened her emotional imprint, and she doesn't even realize it. Freud called it transference, when someone unloads old emotions onto a new person, believing it's love. He said, "The great question, which I haven't been able to answer, is, what does a woman want?" He couldn't answer it, because even women often don't know. What they want is often layered under what they feel, and what they feel comes from the past. You become the protector she never had, the villain she wants to conquer, the fantasy that helps her avoid pain, and you'll believe it's connection. But it's not. It's emotional memory, wearing your face. And when the fantasy breaks, she'll feel betrayed. But the truth is, she was never seeing you to begin with. You're not Freud, but you're standing in the same storm. He wasn't afraid of women. He was afraid of what they revealed in him. Uncertainty, loss of control, emotional exposure, because to truly connect with a woman, you have to give up the fantasy of who you think she is. The fantasy that she'll complete you, obey you, fit perfectly into your world. But she's not a puzzle. She's a mirror. And the part of her that triggers you most, that's the part you haven't faced in yourself. Carl Jung called it the anima, the feminine inside the masculine, your emotional blind spot, your buried chaos. And that's why relationships feel like war sometimes. Because she's not trying to hurt you. She's activating you, not out of cruelty, but because your mind is trying to evolve. She forces you to confront the feelings you avoid, insecurity, weakness, powerlessness. And unless you're grounded, her storm becomes your collapse. But here's the key. The storm isn't the enemy. It's the test. You don't need to decode her. You need to anchor yourself, because the more you try to control her emotions, the more lost you become in them. She's not here to be solved. She's here to show you the part of yourself you keep avoiding. Her chaos. It's not personal. It's a test of your center. What most men don't realize is this. She doesn't want a man who can overpower her. She wants a man who can hold his frame while she spins. Not one who suppresses her. Not one who explains her away, but one who sees her fully and stays rooted. That's your move. Don't chase. Don't react. Observe, reflect, respond. Because the moment you stop trying to handle her and start mastering yourself, you win. And something changes in her too. She stops projecting. She starts respecting. Because you've become the mirror that doesn't break, the ground that doesn't shift, the man who doesn't flinch. You're no longer the role she cast you in. You're something she's never seen before. A man she can't manipulate and doesn't need to. And that's the paradox. When you no longer need to fix her, she starts to heal on her own. Because now, you're not Freud. You're not confused. You're conscious, and she can feel it. The storm passes. The mask falls. And for the first time, she actually sees you.